You need people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fingers and say, that's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy.
I mean, seeing after the first reaction, after getting my first knockout, I was like, oh, dang, we need to see this girl again. I was like, okay, this works. So let me continue doing it.
Yeah.
And I think people like the touchdown. People like when there's points being made. And my point is getting those knockouts in and making sure everyone has all their eyes on me. So I want to be that where I can continue to have that, continue to get those knockouts in. And now they're just going to expect, now, instead of wondering, okay, how is this fight going to go? Now they're just, when is Fundora going to get the knockout? What round?
It looks like, in seeing some of the footage from your training camp, that you actually, like the way that you hit the bags and everything like that, you're actually training for the knockout, right? It's not, it's premeditated.
Yeah.
Viciousness.
Yes, well, that's the point of boxing, right?
Yeah.
You want to make sure you get the knockout. You don't want to leave it to the judges. What fun is that?
Yeah.
What fun is that when you're now crossing the finish line?
That is undisputed flyweight champion and one of my favorite female fighters to watch, Gabby Fundora, who is set to return to action next month on the 20th opposite the ring, Jalil Granadinho, who we've talked about. Gabby sort of hit the nail on the head. It is better to finish the fight strong and finish the fight with a knockout to leave a lasting impression on the audience. The audience that doesn't always know who these women fighters are fighting. Gabby actually has a very strong resume for somebody so young. A win over amateur standout, a then unbeaten Cristina Cruz, unbeaten Mariling Badillo, wins over two reigning world champions in Mexico's Arely Museño and Argentina's Gabriela Alaniz, both of which she stopped, both of which she knocked out. So even if the paying public isn't exactly familiar with all of these girls that Gabby is fighting, what leaves an impression is how Gabby finishes.
Yeah.
How she finishes the job.
Yeah.
Sporting a professional record. 16 wins with no losses, no draws, 8 knockouts. Gabby is one of the bigger punches anywhere at or around these weights where she campaigns flyweight. There's an ongoing debate as to whether or not rounds in women's boxing should go up from 2 minutes to 3 minutes so that the women can produce more knockouts. That doesn't appear to be a problem for Gabby Fundora. She can do it in 2-minute rounds.
Not an issue.
Set to defend her undisputed crown for the second time. The first defense was the Mariling Badillo fight. The second defense will be the Jalil Granadinho fight.
It's a very good time to campaign at these weights.
Previous years, these divisions, the flyweight division, the super flyweight division, they didn't get a lot of attention for the women. The divisions that got a lot of attention were 130, 135, 140.
40.
But because there are 1 or 2 major promotional outfits with prize stallions anywhere in between light flyweight, and super flyweight, money is now coming in. Exposure.
MVP has fighters there anywhere in between the minimum weight division to the super flyweight division to bantamweight, super bantam.
Matchroom has fighters there too. Matchroom still has Shannon Ryan, unbeaten up-and-comer TMA Ayton. These divisions are so much deeper than they are given credit for that Gabby Fundora will have a long list of quality opponents that she can fight anywhere in between flyweight, super flyweight, bantamweight.
There are 4 reigning champions in the super flyweight division right now, where I imagine that Gabby will eventually campaign. She will eventually move up.
Eventually.
For Gabby Fundora, the faces and the fighters, they're gonna get more familiar when they do. If she can keep finishing these girls the way she does, man alive.
So because she's undisputed, she can bottleneck all the talent to her in the flyweight division, and when she decides to move up because she's undisputed, I imagine she can fight for a title straight away against one of the champions that are up there, of which there are 4.
Pick your poison.
23 years old, 14 fights into her professional boxing career. She is in a very, very strong position right now to do some big things.
And I'm looking forward to her next fight next month.
Elsewhere in the world of boxing, Jalil Major Hackett, adding to his previous comments about legacy versus finance, what's best for the fighter, Jalil Hackett said, millions of fighters have fought in the pros. Meanwhile, the bird brain media world of boxing can't name 10 guys who got the money and made a legacy.
Yes, we can. More than that.
I'm starting to think you guys are punch drunk from watching us get hit.
He said we can't name 10 fighters that got legacy and money.
You want 10 fighters? Name 10 fighters, I'll name 10 fighters. Sugar Ray Robinson, Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran,
Street fighters.
Marvin Hagler. And Marvin was actually able to parlay his accolades from boxing into a movie career. George Foreman, how do you think he sold Lolo's Grills?
Why do you think he was able to get those sponsorships, those endorsements? Why do you think they use them in commercials where they don't use you guys for commercials?
Mike Tyson. Do you need me to tell you about how much money Mike Tyson made?
That's 6 fighters.
6 fighters that fought for legacy and got the money at the same time. Let's go for more. Let's go for Roy Jones. Let's go for Oscar De La Hoya. Let's go for Floyd Mayweather.
That's 9.
Let's go for Miguel Cotto. Let's go for Canelo Alvarez. Let's go for Naoya Inoue, Anthony Joshua, Alexander Usyk.
I keep going because the vast majority of guys that made a lot of money from the sport of boxing were in fact legacy fighters, as fighting for legacy is what draws the paying public. The paying public that pays to see you fight. How else do you expect them to pay attention? Don't let odd examples like Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul fool you into thinking they've cracked the code and that is some sort of formula. That is an anomaly. Not easily duplicated either.
But you want shortcuts to the money, and that's what this is all about. You want shortcuts to the bag. Well, good luck with that. A Twitter user that goes by the name Just the Truth said, I just said this. I can't name 10 legacy fighters from the past who are rich. Still, the majority died broke or are broke. Shit, even Tyson had to come back to get a bag. To which that one guy responded, that's because they spent it all, dumbass, not because they never made it. Tyson was throwing millions like it was change. Stop the bullshit.
Stop the cap.
So what Jalil Hackett said and what Just Truth said must have sounded much better in their heads than how it sounded in real time, because in real time, anybody can tell you. If you don't fight for legacy, you're not gonna make much.
Maybe you don't actually care about belts and holding them holds no intrinsic value for you. Maybe not. But if you're not fighting for them and the people that have them, how are you gonna fight in a big fight? And then how are you gonna make big money?
How are you gonna do it? You act like the reason that all those fighters went broke was because they fought for legacy. They wouldn't have had money to spend if they didn't.
Fight for legacy.
Fighting for legacy is not the reason that they went broke. The reason they went broke, the reason that boxers and NFL players, NBA players, and different people alike all end up going broke is poor money management.
Not fighting for legacy.
You got a lot of people that are making a lot of money who are not financially literate. And the first thing they run out and do is buy an expensive car that only depreciates in value over time. Buying jewelry, buying watches to impress people that don't really give a damn about you.
And all of those expensive toys are really just a beacon for the army of succubuses that are gonna suck you off and drain your bank account in the process.
Piece of ass, piece of eye candy. We've all read the stories. What's going on with Devin Haney and Lena Sayed right now? It happens to boxers the same way it happens to football players.
But that's why boxers go broke. Stuff like that. It's not that fighting for legacy will leave you broke, it's that poor money management will leave you broke. You're not always gonna make these vast sums of cash. So while you're making it, you have to make the money work for you.
If all you're doing is spending it with all the impulse control of a toddler, it will be gone before you know it, and then you'll be broke. But it's not because you were fighting for legacy.
It's because you were spending it like there's no tomorrow. So when tomorrow does get here, you ain't got nothing.
These are the after effects of Gervonta Davis's boxing career that looks to be coming to an end.
They look at how it's been for him, that he avoided most of the risky fights, if not all of the risky fights. He got to make some money here and there, and now he's set to make more, cashing out with Jake, and they want to follow that example.
Go ahead and try, and you'll see it doesn't work. There have been several contributing factors to what made Gervonta Davis's career the way that it has been, and several contributing factors to how it's set to finish
With Jake Paul.
So, what may have worked for one may not always work for some. The vast majority, I'd say, who think they can follow this example. Do you think Gervonta Davis is immune to something? You think he's the example? The example of what? How to not go broke after boxing?
He's not done yet, and there is a strong possibility that he will.
Just like Adrian Bronier, his old buddy, his drinking buddy, who's been crying broke for years after having made millions from boxing.
Poor money management was the culprit. You want to manage your money right? You want to make your money work for you? Don't think big, think small.
Here's a compound word for you. Passive income. Couple of vending machines here and there can make you money while you make money, while you still are. So after you stop boxing, the money can keep coming in. Couple of vending machines here and there, maybe a laundromat. Everybody's got laundry.
Passive income.
That doesn't require you to be there 24/7 to make money. Soda machines, vending machines, a laundromat or some laundromats, maybe even a bodega.
You want to think a little bigger? Real estate, flipping houses.
There's money in that, to where if you start this while you're already making money, while you're still making money from boxing, after you stop boxing, you can keep making money. You can walk away with something.
You make the money, make you money while you're making money, while you're boxing. So when you stop boxing, you don't stop making money.
With the money you're making, you already have more startup money to start up a small business than the average person out there. Thus, the probability of success is greater. But I reiterate, boxers and athletes, they didn't go broke pursuing legacy. They went broke burning through all their money because I guess they thought they would always have it.
Poor money management is the reason they went broke. Most people are not financially literate.
In men's super middleweight news, Hamza Sheeraz says, Canelo Alvarez will dispatch Terence Crawford easily, and then it's my turn. Hamza Sheeraz believes that he could be on the verge of a fight with undisputed super middleweight champion Canelo Alvarez. In July, the 26-year-old from SLO traveled to Flushing, New York, and produced the most well-rounded, destructive performance of his career to knock out the fiery Edgar Berlanga. Sheeraz, 22-0 with 1 draw and 18 knockouts, turned what most expected to be a tough night's work into a one-sided beating, flooring Berlanga 3 times before the fight was waved off early in the 5th round. The fight was Sheeraz's first at 168, but the win and the manner of it made him a viable opponent for Canelo. On September 13th, the Mexican superstar will defend his undisputed title against 4-weight world champion Terence Crawford. At Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, during an interview on the 5 Live Boxing podcast, Sheeraz told Steve Bunce that he believes Alvarez will win the blockbuster showdown and that a fight between the two is a distinct possibility. I agree with Edgar in the sense that a fight between Canelo and him is a possibility because we know that Turkey wants to make it. We know that Hamza Sheeraz is a potential for Canelo after Crawford.
That was the whole point of the Edgar Berlanga fight. They picked Edgar for a reason. It's because he fought Canelo before. He went the distance with Canelo before, where he was not able to go the distance with Hamza.
So in Hamza, finishing that guy the way that he did, that's what makes him a viable opponent for Canelo, and that is what validates him as a super middleweight. That here you have Canelo, the number 1 super middleweight in the world, and he didn't knock out Edgar, but Hamza did. The Canelo fight is there, Sheeraz said. It's the one, provided he goes through Crawford with ease, and I believe he will, but at the same time, 168 pounds, I think in the top 10, there isn't one fight where you can match 2 fighters and be confident which one wins. In terms of the fights themselves, any one of them are good to make. Until somebody proves otherwise, Alvarez stands alone at the top of the super middleweight rankings. Sheeraz is one of a number of talented, exciting fighters who are vying for a position behind him, as attractive as fights with the all-action Christian Mabili.
Another potential opponent for Canelo if he beats Lester the Molester Martinez.
The promising Diego Pacheco or the heavy-handed Cuban Oslis Iglesias would be for boxing fans. They aren't anywhere near as high profile or lucrative as Alvarez because of mainstream appeal. Shiraz appears to be a mainstay in the super middleweight division for years to come and is likely to cross paths with all of those names before his time at 168 is done. Alvarez, on the other hand, is nearing the end of his outstanding career, and Sheeraz said it would be impossible to turn down the chance to face the Mexican great. Ideally for me, I'd like to face Canelo because of the dynamics of the sport as they are now. You've got the opportunity to face one of the greatest fighters in boxing, so why not challenge myself and go for it and give it my all?
So I've heard people say
Be careful.
that
Be careful.
Canelo better be careful because Turkey El Sheikh is a bigger fan of Crawford than he is of Canelo, and that might get Crawford special consideration on the cards. I've heard people say that.
I don't dismiss it. It does seem like a valid point. But the other side of that is that Turkey seems to have more plans for Canelo moving forward than he has plans for Crawford. Likely because Crawford's going to retire, win or lose after this fight. I don't see him fighting again. I don't see him dropping down to junior middle. Given all the money he's made and the age he is now, I think he'll be done after that fight.
Canelo won't be.
Even though he's in the twilight years of his career, he did say he's got, I think, 3 more years left in him. And Turkey has plans for those 3 years. Hamza Sheeraz is a part of those plans. He wants to put his boy Hamza in the ring with Canelo.
That's what the Edgar Berlanga fight was for. A proving ground for Hamza to show that he belongs.
I don't know what Hamza's going to do for the remainder of this year. I don't know if he's going to fight again because he's so close to fighting Canelo Alvarez. Any fight would be a roll of the dice at this point.
But them fighting is a distinct possibility. On the premise that both guys fought Edgar, but only one of them stopped him. That doesn't mean that Hamza stops Canelo, though. He was able to stop Edgar because he was better on the outside and better on the inside than Edgar. He is not better on the inside than Canelo.
No, sir. I imagine that a fight between Canelo and Hamza would look a lot like the fight between Canelo and Callum Smith, who he bullied, who he backed down, backed off,
Battered.
except I don't think that Hamza is as durable as Callum Smith. I would go with Canelo to stop Hamza Sheeraz, and I know what people are going to say, that it's been a very long time since Canelo stopped anybody, since he knocked anybody out, but I don't think Hamza takes the best punch. I don't trust his punch resistance against Canelo. It'll be like the Smith fight where Canelo Alvarez has to close the distance against the taller, longer fighter, get on the inside, and let punches go. Within close proximity, the shorter fighter with the shorter arms has the advantage. There, Canelo would have the advantage over Hamza.
I think he'd get him.
I do think he would stop him. Hamza has established himself as a credible opponent at 168, not just for Canelo, but for other fighters too. So the door is open for a lot of things, but this is the plan, to put Canelo in the ring with Hamza if Canelo beats Crawford, which is a separate matter.
Well, Hamza thinks he's going to beat Crawford. Careful that's not just wishful thinking, though.
It might be. For Canelo versus Sheeraz to become a thing, Canelo has to beat Crawford, so maybe that's just Hamza hoping that Canelo beats him.
Saying that he's going to do it easy? We'll see.